spaces with bright, shiny faces. And this is the way we start the revolution. Welcome to another powerful class with our professor. Give it up for our professor, Professor Kimya. Woo! You can clap for yourself. And we have the good brother Charles J. Harris III with us. What's up, bro?
Ain't nothing, man. How y'all doing? How you feeling?
And you're with the
Standard.
Sovereign
The
Standard
sovereign
channel
standard.
on YouTube. That's what's up. So, Doc, what are we doing today? What are we learning about today? Charles and I are students. What are we learning about today?
You all are scholars, okay? All right, so we're talking about the seven principles of Kwanzaa, specifically African Americans, and the real life applicability because it's going to connect with what you and I have been talking about for like more than a year. The last show you and I did was actually the Black Thinkers and Black Capitalism that I did at an in person presentation. And so we want our people to understand how that's an example of Black economic development. So we're going to apply that also to the seven principles of Kwanzaa. And I'm not going to just talk to myself, you all are going to chime in also, like a class
All
discussion.
right.
Okay.
All right, Doc. We'll learn from you. I know I have some questions.
All right. Okay. So there's many examples of when talking about Kwanzaa, and those of us who celebrate Kwanzaa in a way that's focused on African American culture specifically, because as I always explain, yes, we have African origins. Those are our origins before we were on this land. However, Kwanzaa is supposed to be an African American cultural emphasis, which means you focus on the cultures that we've created for centuries on this land, the Americas, and also the solutions that come through the principles. So let's start with unity. We can sing it from a Queen Latifah, UNITY. I will ask both of my scholars in this wonderful class, what does unity mean to you both?
Well, I started celebrating Kwanzaa with my parents in 1973, all right, in Brooklyn, New York. So, when you talk about unity during that time period, for me, it's to build and maintain unity within the family, community, nation, and race. So I don't stray from that. I'm kind of a purist in that sense. To strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. I think that transliteration is well put, and that's the way I look at it during that 7 day period. Now, outside of the period, I look to make sure that people that I disagree with, I connect with. I strive to make sure that people that have a different viewpoint than I do, I get along with. I strive to make sure that when I'm working on a project, I include a lot of different people and a lot of different viewpoints to make sure that my idea goes further. So that's how I apply it outside of the 7 days. But during the 7 days, I'm kind of the staunch conservative purist.
All right, now staunch conservative can have different meanings, so be careful about using those terms. We'll talk about what that means to you. Brother Charles, you want to chime in on what unity means to you?
Unity means to me a sense of togetherness, a sense of camaraderie, a sense of focusing on a specific goal uh, in tandem together, a sense of cohesiveness. That's what I
Y'all
believe
remind me
unity.
of black politicians. Y'all have really good words, right? So now,
But we ain't
you
saying
know,
nothing.
I can't stand politicians because they do wonderful. They're like motivational speakers, right? So they'll give you some really good jargon, and you be like, "Yeah," you feel so empowered. But like in real life, you're like, "Dang, what does this unity look like? Like, how do you know the difference between being united as a people versus division? Because division is not disagreements, like Brother Seiko said, right? Disagreements are normal.
Yeah.
We're
You
supposed to
have to have
disagree.
disagreements because if not, then that's a cult following where everyone pretends that they have the same mindset, the same following, and everything like that. So you can have disagreements, there are misunderstandings that are normal. The key is to improve the communication and to develop different perspectives across our people, which is socio-political perspectives as well, right? So that's why when I highlight unity, I already always want our people to explain what does unity look like. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with everyone's identity, lifestyle decision, or anything else. It means that you keep some of your opinions to yourself. That's one form of unity, right? Because a lot of people love to throw their shoes at everybody else's life, but they don't want people minding their business as well. So, one form of unity includes minding your business on things that do not pertain to you and do not pertain to the black culture and the black evolution for black progress. So black evolution is beyond revolution because revolution is when you keep announcing that, yeah, we about to do this. Evolution is okay, we've gone to the next level and then we're progressing, right? So again, unity is when we're saying, okay, we're uniting across different perspectives, different approaches. We're not saying here's one way to be black, here's one way to be a black girl, here's one way to be a black woman, one way to be a black boy, one way to be a black person. We're saying there's different ways, even if I don't agree with it, and how are we going to develop that? And that's across centuries, across generations. Now, what does it look like in real life though? It means that we're forming these collectives and collaborations of our people, and we're saying in the family, as Seiko highlighted, what are families doing? Number one, the families are the first location of abuse, unfortunately, the first location of the lack of knowledge. So if families are not reading and not discussing factual
Ooh,
information, that's passing
dope.
lies into the communities, into schools, and then our people are taught to blame schools and governments for all the problems. Same thing with
Yeah.
blaming health professionals when you were taught scam health solutions in your household, right? You were taught that that liquor could cure, the sore throat when that's not true. But then you blame doctors for giving you scams. So this is an example of unity as well. It's understanding misinformation spread in our people. Even if you think the misinformation is grandma said, even if you think misinformation is a testament to our culture, you got to understand a lot of misinformation in our culture came from centuries of our people trying to find resources out of desperation and then trying to make sense of things because we did not have access to information. But long gone are
Yo, you
those
stepping on
days.
some toes. You stepping
Good.
on some
Good.
toes.
Y'all
Let
put
me
some
say
lotion on y'all toes. Put some lotion on your toes. So that's the thing about development, right? Because we can't pretend that we're the same desperation as we were centuries ago. We're not even the same desperation that we were 50 years ago. We have access to books. I tell people if you think that you don't have access to every book that you want to read, then why do you have access to social media so freely? People love to claim that they were told they can't read stuff, but you got to that Google search, right? So you have access to stuff. It's just understanding that you are accessing the things that are convenient and that you want to access. So
right.
unity means you have to understand the difference between real problems and distractions. Because it's not going to unite our people if we pretend that we are an oppressed people and that there's so many oppressions coming at us constantly and we're always distracted by every topic. Because how are you going to unite as a
Mm.
people when any news story pops up and now you're mad about that now? Do you know the focus? Do you have any concentration? If anything, can just always call it a puppy in an open field. Puppies will jump at anything, right? Puppies are like, oh, this, oh, a fly, oh, that butterfly. So our people, as Black Americans specifically, unity means that. Also, unity from a larger sense, if we're understanding African unity around the world. And I'm saying this adamantly in terms of Pan Africanism and Black nationalism. African unity still requires you to know the culture on the land in which you are the originating from and the solutions for your people on that land. So here's an example. If you look at Dr. Anna Julia Cooper, when they attended the first Pan African Conference in 1913, she and other
Whoop, whoop,
Negro.
whoop. Professor, Who is Dr. Anna Julia Cooper? I know we've talked about it, but I'm asking for the people in the back.
Yeah. So Dr. Anna Julia Cooper, sociologist, a wonderful writer. She did a lot of pro-black focused work, and she specifically focused on black women. She wrote the book A Voice from the South. And so when you look at when they attended the first Pan-African conference, she did a presentation when talking about Negro Americans and specifically the women and the emphasis on the needs and the efforts for women. So that's an example of when talking about unity. Also, when celebrating Kwanzaa or any other time, a lot of our people think that unity means that uniting as Africans around the world means we have to ignore our local and our national focus. Actually, the original purpose of Pan Africanism and Black nationalism was for our people in every land around the world in which we're located to know our origins on that land, not conspiracy theory explanations, but actually why we're there. And most of it's because of transatlantic slavery and the cultures that we've created, the problems that we have on that land, and the solutions that we have created already, and the solutions that we are adding to even more. So that's why you will find our people in European lands, in Canada, in Jamaica, in Asian lands, and so forth. It's an understanding we have the common denominators, but you better not forget what you're doing where you are and only focusing on our people elsewhere, because that is negating the whole goal of improving your people where you are. Like if you don't know how to help somebody in your own family, your own neighborhood, your own city, then I do not want to hear you talking about donating to our people across the water. Because like how should
Yeah.
we, that's like a tourist mindset. Like how should we really trust you when you don't know how to help your people there? And that's also a messed up version
Mm,
of unity that a lot of people have. They'll spend a lot of money, a lot of travel around the world. They brag about it. They're considered the savior, which is a very white mindset and Asian mindset as well, when you're looking at the colonization of African lands. So it's wanting to be celebrated, but the question has to be, what are you doing locally and nationally where you are born and raised? So that's another example of looking at unity.
I never
all
even
right.
knew. I had a clue. I never thought of it from that perspective. That's like the
Yeah.
total inverse of what I would have thought. Was that a
What do you
trick
mean, bro?
question, doctor? That was a trick question you got in there.
Yo, you said that's the total inverse? What you mean, bro?
Well, inverse being when I think unity. When I think of unity, like literally, I thought it was a positive. Is a sense of cohesiveness, a sense of togetherness, a sense of one. Everybody coming together as one. That's in my all these years living on this earth. That's what I thought it was. But
Oh, you thought it was kumbaya.
kumbaya, my love. Yeah, I did. I thought it was unity. Unity. But the
Right.
doctor, the good doctors, may help me look at it from a different perspective. More specifically, the woman she mentioned, unity is minding your business.
I did not say that. That's not what Dr. Anna Julie Cooper said.
Yes, you did. Go ahead and rewind.
That's
I
not what
just said
Dr. Anna Julie. This is one. Okay, black people, look here. Don't do cliff notes. When I explain something, don't break it down in a way that actually takes the meaning from it. Okay, that's another example of tearing down black knowledge. Dr. Anna Julia Cooper never said mind your business. It is understanding the work that you're doing, where you are, and how you're presenting this work elsewhere. So you're not minding your business, it's actually contributing to our people and collaborating to understand different solutions for our people. That's not the same thing as mind your business, because mind your business is like falling asleep and not paying attention.
Ooh,
That's mind
ooh,
your
I'm
business.
that. Okay. Now, that's the distinction that needed to be made. Yeah, that's the distinction that needed to be made. Minding your business is like falling asleep. But okay, I
You know,
see your point. All right. Yo, we've talked about unity for 5 minutes.
but that's an
All right.
introduction because kumbaya is actually a good thing. That's African origins, And remember, Queen Latifah, when she said UNITY, she was calling out black men. So I don't want black men singing UNITY and not understanding the lyricism of Queen Latifah. She said, "Who you calling a bitch?" And not in a joking way, but who are you really disregarding in terms of black women? So this is
I always
another
thought she, I
example.
always thought that she was kind of hypocritical because she was like nigga, nigga, nigga. Like, who you calling a bitch? Now she said if we playing it's cool. She said that. She said if we
Yes,
playing it's
yes.
cool. But I always thought like, all right,
Well,
Key
there's
well,
Well, that's the thing about having our language. So you change language and you make it work. So certain spaces this can work and others it doesn't work. And that's what she's saying. That's why context matters. So you can joke around with people if you're that close. I don't tell people not to call each other certain things if that's what they're close to doing. But it's different when you're using it to completely disregard somebody and harm somebody, and that's what she's talking about. So don't tell a black woman that she's a
right.
hypocrite for highlighting how black women should be treated, because that's like black
No,
men
that's not
calling each other
the part I
nigga,
talked
and
about
then
was hypocritical. That wasn't the part I said was hypocritical. The part I said was hypocritical is saying you can't call me this, but I can call you that. Now she didn't.
no,
She that's the part I said was hypocritical.
that's not what she
That's the
said. She
only.
said she said if we're friends, it's cool to call me bitch, just like I call you nigga. That's what she said. So she said bitch and nigga can be contextually okay. She didn't just say
She said
nigga.
all that in the rap song. She ain't say
Yes,
all that.
she did
Oh
say
well,
all of
yeah.
that.
Now QL didn't. She didn't use that language all the time. She wasn't NWA with it. But
QL. Who is QL, Seiko?
Queen Latifah.
Oh, QL. Oh,
I'm sorry, man. Yo, I'm a Latifah fan, man. I was just
Me too.
watching uh
oh.
whatever that movie she was in. All right, that's
Set it
Set it
off.
yo.
off.
All right, no, it wasn't Set It Off. It was another movie. It was based in a church. She was sick, something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so she
Yeah,
said
that movie.
she
All
said
right,
we can
yo,
call
Kuta
each other.
Chagalia.
She said we can call each other bitch and nigga if that is we're in that kind of zone. So she actually distinguished that and made it very clear. Y'all black men just need to understand lyrics better. Okay, so since you want to move on,
All right,
okay, all right, self determination. All right,
my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
self destruction. We're headed for self destruction. All right, so self determination. I'm really big at self determination because I do believe when we're talking about collective identity, I always introduce it as self identity, collective identity, self consciousness, collective consciousness. So, as a sociologist and criminologist, I do always talk about individual onus or individual responsibility and accountability. I do not believe in pretending that we are ants in an ant hill waiting for the queen ant to kill us or something like that. We all have to take accountability and responsibility. And people understand that when it's convenient, because a lot of people want independence when it's convenient. But when it's problems happening, sometimes unfortunately people like to pretend they had no input, no say so. So this is where self determination is important when understanding what are some self concerns that we have, what are some self improvements that we're having, but it first manifests, the individualism part first manifests a lot of times in households, so in families. Then you see it in communities because these are expressions of black cultures. And then, of course, that's expressed in society overall. So, self determination, what do you want to accomplish? It could, I tell people to focus on health, focus on education. That means health wise means that what are you doing to improve your health? And again, I always say it can't be a fake cure for stuff, because I always tell people still go to the doctors and stuff like that. So what are you doing to improve your health? Also, what are you doing to improve education for yourself, for your family, community? Education means you have to bring knowledge into schools, and it is a give and take relationship in schools. Don't ever go into schools as a blank slate and expect schools are the places where you learn to read, you access all materials, they tell you to know everything, and that's the only place to discuss things with. That's another issue with our culture, in that a lot of people come from families where you don't read together. You might read about some slavery, stuff like that, but it's not anything more productive than that. So a lot of times people don't come from families and communities where they actually have conversations. But yet and still people will celebrate our ancestors and trailblazers. And I'm like, what are you celebrating these people for? Do you not know that many of these people also read, they learned, they had challenging dialogue? Like, are you gonna accurately present our ancestors? Like, if you're celebrating the Black Panther Party, are you going to falsely depict them as just berets and firearms fighting the police? Or are you going to show the factual version, which was the successful one? The only successful form of Black Panther Party was when they did the food and clothing resources. They had the medical services on the corners. They had reading groups where they actually talked about knowledge development. They debated each other because they wanted intellectualism. And Huey P. Newton did some writings. That is a successful form of Black Panther Party. So this is an example of our people. You can't just conveniently pick and choose the parts of Black culture that seem convenient and interesting and even fun, but the difficult stuff that takes time, like talking about the knowledge development, that of course
Mm,
contributes to the work environment, like we still have to work for
mm,
money, but that has to all be components of it. So that's part of self determination because changing those aspects of our culture, families have always been like this, communities have always been like this. So therefore, this is where people have to talk about self determination, change themselves because individuals bring these changes into our collectives. You can't wait for collectives to say, you know what, we're going to change our focus. It has to be individuals who start to develop and then they come in and they say, here's some things that I think that we can do to improve our people. And that's something that we thankfully have some wonderful Black collectives and Black organizations that have done that. They'll explain how they were created. They were created because some individuals started doing the whole self determination. And they said, I'm not the only Black person who feels this self determination. I'm not the only one. Let me find some other Black folks who feel some self determination. And then let's get together and contribute to collective determination. Do y'all have any thoughts on that?
yeah. Well, you brought up self-destruction, the Stop the Violence movement. When I think of Kujichagulia, I think of Mos Def and Talib Kweli when they were Black Star, when they had the song Knowledge of Self-Determination. KOS, that was my joint. Kujichagulia, self-determination, you know, to define ourselves, name ourselves, speak for ourselves without anyone else naming, defining, or speaking for us. I love that. And I think that's the impetus of rising above a lot of the BS. So that's always been my favorite principle. But just wanted to bring Most Def and Talib Kweli into the mix. Yeah, what are you thinking, Chuck? Oh, you don't. Okay, that's right. You don't like Talib Kweli.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, I like Tyler Quali. Yeah, high tech. Yeah, man, come
I'm
on,
talking
man.
about the good doctor doesn't like Talib Kweli
Oh,
because
so dollar doctor. She ain't got no. I mean,
all right,
You asking me
nothing
my
good to
input.
say.
You asking me my input on self determination. That's what you're asking. Well,
And I think you're a great example of self determination with your businesses and the things that you're doing.
oh yeah, yeah, man. It's just, man, with me, it's just I look at it from a sense of selflessness and a sense of, you know, I never had the luxury. I'm just want to level set things before so you can understand it. I never had the luxury. I had my first child when I was when I was 20 years old, man. So I never had the luxury of, downtime, and I had to actually quit college and all that stuff to provide. And so all I knew, man, was the grind, grind, grind. It was always a sense of selflessness. There was no maybe I gotta go. No, it's either you gonna go to work or you're black. We gonna knock you up for not paying child support. So that coupled with not wanting to embarrass my family, man, has always had given me a sense of self drive, no matter what. And I think that the whole notion of going through all those things, um, in addition to being somewhat successful in life right now, has always made me drive, drive, drive. There was never no option to fail, man, because um, I just never really like to lose. I have a problem if I lose, right? So I was always willing to do whatever it took to provide for my family, and that just kind of just goes to how I am in life right now as a man. So like with these businesses you mentioned, yeah, man. I mean, like I was telling High Magus, it's 86,400 seconds in a day. All right. And if you ain't quantifying every second of the day, then it's a problem. And I know my family get on me all. They don't like it because I'm Mr. Quantify. If that, I don't give a damn if you went to Walmart and it only costs 99 cents. I want to see some value in it. Okay, so what they got to do with self awareness,
Determination.
self determination?
Determination. Yes, sir.
It's just a sense of, man, if I don't do it, think I'm gonna. For me, if I don't do it, oh man, a whole lot of other people gonna suffer type of mentality. That's just the drive that I got. And so by virtue of that, man, I'm going to hell over high water and we're gonna make it happen. So I never really had that luxury of losing, man. So that's what makes me such a self-driven person, no matter what it is I do. I'm always so competitive. Oh, and for me, it's a sense of being competitive. I'm a competitive guy, man. I'm
True.
I'm very competitive. So if I see you
True.
if I see you doing better than me, I'm gonna try to do better. That's just me. So I don't know. I mean, I think that kind of answers your question, but that's just how I look at it when I think of self determination. It's being competitive. It's not losing. It's helping others in a sense of selflessness. It ain't always about you. It's about the team.
I will not lose.
Ever, ever. And
Okay.
then if I did
All
lose,
right.
I didn't really
Hashtag Jay
lose
Z.
because I know what it takes to win next time. See, I got that
Right.
mindset.
Yes. Yep. And that's
Well,
so it's important.
Nikki Giovanni said, even my errors are correct.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. Sora Giovanni was very important in highlighting that because if you're pretending that there's going to be perfection, then you definitely will have a very impossible life.
Yeah.
Life is full of ups and downs. And also, I want you all to remember, I want all of our people to remember self determination includes focusing on ourself in terms of health.
Yeah.
So, don't be one of those people who's always busy. I tell that to our people a lot. So, naps are very important to me. Times where you are away from people is very important. So, some people have a kind of life where they can't really get away from people. Could be their family situation, work environment. So, maybe going to the restroom is getting away from people. It has to be something where it's just you and you are just talking to yourself, listening to your own thoughts, taking a nap, something. Forms of exercise are very important. People with different health conditions, it could be exercising in a chair, it could be talking about what you're eating. There's all types of resource development. So, in most cities and most states, there are health resources, including that are funded through government services and community groups when addressing things like exercising, healthy eating. Because self determination also means that if you're not healthy, and this is mental health too, so mental health, physical health, if you're not healthy, then you're really not self determined because you're going to brag about working hard, even if you're making a lot of money. Your money's going to be funny because how long are you really going to live?
Right.
Are you really going to be mentally healthy and physically healthy enough to do what you're supposed to do? Your family, if it's your real family that really loves you, they don't want your money if you yourself are mentally struggling and struggling physically. So that's another thing about self-determination that we want our people to understand. This also includes, since Seiko, you and I have done shows where we talk about chemicals put in our bodies by choice. So alcohol, vaping, smoking, all of this stuff,
By choice.
opioids, anything. I'm not going to judge people who do things, but I do want our people to be very conscious of examining self determination if you're putting chemicals in your body, and nature also has chemicals. So there's some forms of nature that have harmful chemicals. So understand that self-determination means that you are really taking a note. In the same way we tell people to, if you're taking a medication and a vitamin, you keep your medical professionals updated on that. Also keep your medical professionals updated on your alcohol content. Whatever you're smoking, whatever you're inhaling, if you're snorting something, vaping has chemicals. Now I see children, I see black children walking around vaping.
Crazy,
You know,
crazy.
it's enough smoking marijuana because marijuana has chemicals, y'all. I don't know why people think they're just breathing air. When smoking marijuana, you're not just breathing air, and you're also not just breathing air when it comes to vaping. And so I
But
really
it's
want
natural.
yeah, it's
It's
not none of this
natural.
stuff. Yeah, it's all got chemicals, and they all have chemicals that impact the brain, the lung,
Yeah.
and again, that includes marijuana. There are people who are addicted to marijuana, and this includes black people, and they're using marijuana because they might have anxiety, paranoid schizophrenia, since I specialize in black mental health. So self determination has to be also being prepared to self reflect when it comes to how we impact our own health. We can't blame the government for access to food when we actually have some really good, like, urban farms. Like, we have black people who are doing some really important work. Are we not patronizing it is the problem a lot of times. We can't blame the government for the tobacco industry because Congressional Black Caucus members made money from the tobacco industry in the 1980s, right? We can't blame the government for all this stuff because black folk, we ain't babies, right? We grown folk. So at
We
this
gotta blame
point,
somebody, doctor.
say it again.
I said we gotta blame somebody. Can't cut them off the hook that
Well,
way.
I'm very much encouraged blaming ourselves and each other. At this point, we can't say that now there's billboards all around us telling us to drink and smoke. No, I mean, literally, you see where the liquor stores, you see where the CBD and everything is. If you choose to go there, just like you choose to go to the unhealthy fast food and unhealthy Chinese restaurants, this is 100% a choice.
Yeah,
This is where the
choice.
self reflection comes in because you can't blame the government and anybody else. Because when you do that, and this is for every political party, when you do that, they all think that black people are idiots. And I say when they all, that's every political party thinks black people are stupid, and that includes the black politicians. They think we're stupid. They think we're gullible. So self determination requires more.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: what about those? Okay, I'm gonna take myself, talk for myself. There was a time where I was doing good with my diet and everything. It got down to 268. I now I'm ballooned back up to 298. I still work out though, but man, the choice of food I love to eat. And I can't, like, if my wife is down there cooking some fried chicken, that smell, like, I can't turn it down. It's a hard choice. You just hit it right in there. Choice. What about, so that's how I am to food, right? But now I can see how there are other choices that are made by black communities that they may not struggle with food. They may struggle with drugs. They may struggle with addiction, like, drugs. They may struggle with porn. They may struggle with gang. I don't know, any type of addiction, right? We do have there is a choice that we can make, but if we're not strong enough to make that choice, and then you continually routinely having someone controlling the narrative and placing these things out there, just exploiting that weakness, I feel like, yeah, but they are to blame. The government is to blame.
No, they're not to blame. So number one,
Maybe that's
again,
just a weakness, a weak mind, I guess.
it's a centuries long oppression identity that was given to us, and unfortunately, too many black people love that oppression identity. Again, we've already figured out the equation, so why do we keep using the equation? When you understand the origins of black nationalism, so white Jewish nationalism was one of the templates used to develop black nationalism over 100 years ago. And they used white Jewish nationalism because it was this idea of what does it mean when you coexist amongst various groups of people, but you are self-developing in your collective development. It means you understand the problems around you, but you know the game. Game recognized game, right? The old game recognized game. So, as black people, you got to recognize game and you got to teach the game to every generation, not in a paranoid, conspiracy theory way, but just
Yeah.
explain to every generation that every government around the world, every parliament, every economic system around the world has problems.
Right.
It's designed to control the people, no matter whether it's capitalist, socialist, communist, communalist, it's all developed to control the people, right? So you have to ask yourself, if you know that, are you going to keep signing up for that? Do you like suffering, basically? Do you like suffering? Because I tell people it is easy to get on social media and all over these news articles, everywhere talking about we're fighting the power, we're doing this, we're gonna protest, we're gonna do this. I'm mad at so and so, but are you changing some things?
Right.
Are you developing our people beyond black people just for centuries more? Talking about, man, them people are doing something to us. Because that is violating the unity and self determination, right? So if you want that chicken, good for you. Now add some vegetables and fruit to it. And also, if you know there's a certain day every week that you have chicken, design it for the rest of the week and what you eat. You write down your meal plan. That's
Yeah.
basic. Do it like the movie Soul Food. Them people in the movie Soul Food, they ate so much on that Sunday. You was like, all y'all skinny. And that's a movie, of course. But the point is that if you know that that's the tradition, you got to think about it like old black folks. Like my parents from South Carolina, my mom's side are sharecroppers. So they moved a lot. They couldn't drive. So we're long past that as black folks. We ain't walking around like we were back in the open land. And even people who take public transportation, they're not walking on the sidewalks as much as they did back in the day.
Right.
So you have to change with that. Black vegans struggle with obesity too, because people assume veganism is healthy, right? Veganism, it's got sugar, it's got all types of stuff in it. So, as black people, we come from intellectualism, we come from inventors, we come from all of this knowledge for thousands of years that we conveniently only mention when it's convenient. But you got to understand that we have developments as Africans and we have developments as black people on this land. We've created stuff.
Yeah.
We ain't stupid. Just know how to change it. It doesn't mean that you don't spoil yourself with a good fish plate. Enjoy the fish plate, okay? But if that's gonna be your main meal and you adding everything to it, it ain't the government's fault for that.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's discipline. It's mental. It's struggle. I've always struggled with food all my life. I
And
love
that's
to
part
eat.
of adulthood.
Love to
Bodies
cook.
change. Bodies changed out your
Yeah.
life. You know what I'm saying? So you just change your schedule with your body, and people's bodies change based on seasons, right?
Right.
So that's normal too. So this is where we can get to the cooperative economics part, which is the day three. So when you're talking about how your
Three.
body, day three. So when we talk about how our bodies change with the seasons, economics
Mhm.
also change with seasons, right? So
Economics, you said?
economics, yes.
Okay.
So the cooperative economics, that is the theme for day three, seventh principle, the third principle of the seven principles. So
Mm.
cooperative economics, I want our people to understand this now, and I'm gonna say it. Cooperative economics is not anti-capitalism jargon. And I have to explain this because unfortunately a lot of our people have thought cooperative economics is destroy capitalism. And they're gonna pretend that they're gonna be 100% socialist or even unfortunately communist. And that's not
Oh,
what cooperative economics means.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, Doctor Dennis. You said property economics, or say that again?
Cooperative economics. Cooperative
Cooperative. C
economics.
O O R.
Cooperative,
Cooperative.
yes, C
Okay.
O
Okay.
O P
Don't
E
spell it.
R A T
Don't
I V
spell
E.
it.
All right.
Yep, cooperative
I'm messing with
economics.
you.
I thought you said
The
property
other thing
economics.
that, oh, got you. Another
Cool.
misunderstanding that people have around Ujamaa, is they think that means that we should go out and spend money at black-owned shops. And I'm like, the
Yeah.
principle says we should build our shops. The principle is about building, it's not about spending. It's
But
about
aren't they
being
the
a
same?
producer more than being a consumer. Oh, no.
It's,
I'm not saying that we shouldn't spend. I'm saying that the principle says that we will build our own stops, shops, stores, and other businesses and profit from them together. It's the building that allows you to profit from them together. It's not the spending. And a lot of times people are like, yeah, we're gonna go spend our money. And we're like, that's that's not necessarily that's not the impetus of that principle. The principle is about the building. So I've run into people who said they're anti-capitalist because of because of the principle, but more often I run into people that's like, "Yay, let's go shopping." Like that's not the principle either.
So it's both. So because
No, it's not.
it is both. It has to be both because number one, most people will never be entrepreneurs, and most businesses will not last. And that also happened when Marcus Garvey started businesses. So it isn't the primary focus of cooperative economics is not to just talk about building. It's to talk about how are you going to help flourish what already exists, because that will also help develop, because we're talking about people who don't qualify for bank loans and other resources, including grants from the government offices. So
I'm talking about what
therefore you are going to talk about how are you going to currently patronize existing businesses instead of patronizing the non-black businesses. That is one of the central focuses of cooperative economics when you're talking about particularly areas like where I live in Baltimore now, where there are a lot of people patronizing non-black restaurants, and they forget that there are a lot of black restaurants that are and coffee shops that are struggling because people are going to the places that are the most popular, which are not black. So that's also very important when understanding cooperative economics. It includes a full span. It includes wealth building. It includes building your savings account. It does include spending your money as well.
Yeah, but then
but in the transliteration that's germane to Kwanzaa, it focuses on the building of our businesses, shops, and other enterprises. That's specifically what it says. And so I think that we need to push that more so than we just say, let's go shopping and shop with us.
Right.
It's
Well,
bigger
building
than that. And
but building your business means also building business. The historical meaning of building black business means you're spending money at black businesses, though. That's also this is why I encourage our people to understand cooperative
that
economics.
gets
You have to
lost though,
be
because the principle says,
I don't care about just what people understand from their only principle. You actually have to know centuries of black writings regarding economics. So, our people to understand cooperative economics, you have to have read Booker T. Washington's work that were the foundation for Marcus Garvey's work. So, you got to understand what Marcus Garvey presented. He was the one who presented more economic plans to Negro Americans because, unfortunately, the NAACP, racial integrationists, right? And then, of course, W.B. Du Bois
mhm,
presented a
W. Du
cooperative
Bois, yeah.
economic plan in 1903. And then he furthered his economic plan when he wrote the book as well, the chapter 7 in his book. So, and then, of course, Harold Cruz's work, Magdalena Walker's work. So, the cooperative economics is encouraging spending some money because that's also highlighted in Harold Cruz's recommendations. How you design the political and economic design. He used Harlem as the model. What it means, you're trying to get some things to shut down, and then you're putting everything we need in black communities. You're putting all the nurseries, you're putting all the barbershops, you're putting all the health resources and everything in the black communities. But again, you have to encourage people to spend money because if you leave that part out, then you're going to be creating things, but nobody's buying anything.
So
I'm simply saying that the principle for Kwanzaa focuses on the other part. And a lot of times we miss that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
well,
real life applicability. So real life applicability means that you can talk about black people
Okay.
creating things, but you have to explain to our people that, and this happens a lot. It happens in every city across the nation because when I patronize black businesses when I lived in North Carolina and Richmond, the business owners will tell you if it's a black grocery store, for
Oh,
example, they'll tell you that the black leaders in the city have come to them and said, you know what, I'll spend money here when you all prove that you all can last. So, in other words, they're telling them that you just got to exist without people spending money on you. That means that they're missing the point of black cooperative economics. If you're
Mm.
thinking that something's just going to last, like miraculously, people are going to be able to pay the bills, make things exist, and then you spend money because it's lasted, then you're missing the point that non blacks understand. Non black Hispanics, non black Latinas, Asians, white people, they all get this. They all understand that if we're talking about cooperative economics, they're talking about building their own grants, their own loans, so they don't rely on government offices. They don't rely only on business on banks, although the banks still love them, unfortunately. They're saying that we're building this, we're going to employ our family members and other people in our community, and we're going to market this so that people can now buy it. In other words, don't just come here and take a photo and say, congratulations, congratulate while you're spending money here. So that's the cooperative economics. So
Yeah.
cooperative economics is the development of wealth building, which means individuals saving money. But then the collective building means also what we're building together and then how we're spending money on what we're building together.
So these are the
Yeah.
components of Kwanzaa. You have their unity, self determination, and cooperative economics. Those are the components of Kwanzaa. I didn't know that.
Those are
Those are the
three.
first
Those are
three.
three of the
Those are the
seven
first three.
principles.
Oh, so, oh, we got four more.
Yep.
Got four more.
Yep. We got four more, and I
And
can
we're
go by them
46
quickly.
minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
let's
so
do it
this
quickly.
this is the thing. As a professor, we always explain I don't do timing. Because knowledge doesn't have a timing. As Rakim said,
Like the preacher
knowledge is
say.
as I
Like the
finish
preacher
this
say.
song. Yeah. Like if you think that black people have a problem with timing, like black people love to tell you there's a timing. But when it comes to religion, black folks used to be in church all day on Sunday, right? My Uncle Bo was a pastor. They used to be in church all day. So they'll listen to some other stuff all day, but when it comes to like knowledge development, there's a time limit, and then we wonder why things don't really get developed. So so again, unity, self-determination, cooperative economics. Cooperative economics is at the individual level. So how are you saving money? So when we do programs with youth and adults, we talk about saving money, putting $5 in a savings account, connecting. I connect our people with black financial developers, and I highlight it's actually a legal financial development. It's not your cousin who just says they can handle your money. It's not somebody on the corner. It's actually someone who's legally verified financial development and investment. And there are very helpful people doing this. And then the cooperative economics of what are the resources that we're creating, we're bringing into the businesses, the medical services. We have to be very careful because when it comes to scammers are mostly within race. So it's people within the same race who are scamming each other the most. And that includes
Mm.
financial scamming. It's black people scamming each other. All right. So
I got a new
cooperative,
word for you.
okay.
It's the new phrase is FUBU scammers.
Fubu
FUBU,
scam.
forced bias.
And that's yeah, it's FUBU
What?
scammer. You're gonna start seeing that a lot. You're gonna start seeing FUBU scammer a lot. There's like 10 people I know that are really big online, and this guy named Cam Jones created the phrase, but it's gonna get big. So FUBU scammers, and you did two shows on that already.
Fubu scam.
I mean, this has always been the case. This is, more than a century of black people scamming black people. And that includes people who claim they have remedies for health issues, all types of things. It includes people like Umar Johnson and all them. So when talking about cooperative economics, it requires an understanding of that. And so, I mean, I do agree with what Seiko said. It's not just like go spend money kind of thing. That's not the main focus, but it is saying you do have to spend some money if we're talking about creating some stuff. So I just want to highlight that. All right. So the fourth one, work and responsibility. We kind of talked about work and responsibility already. Seiko, do you have any thoughts on the fourth principle, work and responsibility, since we did talk about working and everything before?
Yeah, that's even though it's not Coochie Chocolate, it's not my fave. Um, I always have liked Ujamaa when, when we look at making our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solving them together. That's just been so pivotal in the way my parents raised me, that we have to look at other people's problems and find ways to solve them together. And I think the piece of that's the most magnificent part about that approach is as you start working on helping others solve their problems, you become a problem solver. And a problem solver
Yeah.
is like one of the most important positions you can have in any entity. If you can solve problems, you're going to rise to the top. If you can solve problems, you're going to get yourself out of personal hell. If you can solve problems, you're going to be able to leave, you know, books and writings and quotes and other legacies that other people can follow. Like when you talk about Harold Cruz a lot, he was a problem solver. He looked at ways that problems needed to be solved, and he left a legacy that we can follow. So I think that's one of the most magnificent parts of collective work and responsibility is saying, hey, we want to find our brothers and sisters' problems and solve them together. I love it.
And thank you for saying that. And that's and understanding critiques though, so we can change how we do it. So one critique of Harold Cruz. So Harold Cruz talked about a lot. So when you read his writings, he became a professor, but he was not an academic in a traditional sense, meaning he did not have a terminal degree. And so when you read his books, like the looking at Negro intellectuals, he talked about a lot in there. So you can take the parts out of that you want. And so that's another thing about work and responsibility as well. You have to decide when we're doing too much and when we need to focus a little bit more, or if we want to keep the focus on other things as well, that doesn't have to be everyone's focus. We just divide the emphasis to other people. And that's important for people to understand. Like something might not be my topic of emphasis, but it doesn't mean we have to abandon it altogether as a collective. It just means that somebody else focuses on that. So, what are your thoughts on this, Charles, in terms of work and responsibility?
Uh, Man, I'm pretty cookie cutter, straight up. In that, all I know is to do to work and to have a sense of selflessness to help make the situation better, and knowing that you know it's not about me. It's about knowing that someone depends on me, and if I don't work, then well they suffer, and so in order to prevent them from suffering, I'm gonna have to do the things that it takes to work. I mean, that's just that's just me, man. I'm pretty black or white. I don't. And so, as you'll know, you probably can tell that I know nothing about this Kwanzaa until today. I heard about it in church. I always thought it was. Frankly, I thought Kwanzaa was for African people. I didn't know. I know this. I know it's kind of embarrassing to say, but I didn't know. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
It's all good.
I
Yeah.
just feel like you got to
Everybody
work.
doesn't know everything. Yeah.
It's not a requirement. Just it's just like Juneteenth. Most of our people don't understand the meaning of Juneteenth. They think that Juneteenth meant that slavery was 100% abolished, and that's not what Juneteenth meant because slavery was still legal in the United States of
Mm,
America. And so, but either way, you don't have to celebrate any of these
And
days.
practiced.
Yeah, exactly. So Black American culture is complex because unfortunately, Black Americans criticize a lot about our culture. Like whenever there is a holiday or something, especially if it becomes a national holiday, all of a sudden too many Black people are like, well, I'm not going to celebrate this. I'm not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And I say, we won't have a whole lot to celebrate if you have a problem with everything that our people celebrate. It's okay to critique something and say it's not a preference for you, but then comprehend while other people acknowledge it and understand why people change the meaning of it and they celebrate it in a different kind of way. And that's
mm,
something that I want our people to understand because again, we will be a very lost people for eternity if we feel like we can't celebrate anything. And so that's another component of work and responsibility. You know, we're working, we're putting things in, but we have to understand sometimes we're being too critical of the meaningless things and we're trying to
Mm.
tear apart everything. And like they'll say, well, other people adopted that, therefore I'm no longer going to do it. You cannot be so quick to abandon your own people's culture just because outsiders adopted it. That's what happens when y'all keep inviting people to cookouts, quote unquote, and allowing people on social media to use your jargon and your words when you know it's not a black person. You're communicating with people who are not black. You allow them to talk about things like hip hop, soul, other
Mm.
things about our culture. You're welcoming people, and that's another problem with racial integration, which we highlight with the problem of the NAACP, the problem of W.B. Du Bois, the initial W.B. Du Bois. That's a problem when you want to be so ingrained and so welcomed, and therefore you lose the theme, you lose the purpose because you don't even know your own culture, and therefore you don't even know your own collective and the goal for our people's progress. So we'll just end with the last three forms of the principles: the purpose, creativity, and faith, because these last three principles tie to exactly what I just said. Purpose. What is the meaning? What are we going to do? Why are we doing what we're going to do? It doesn't mean we all have to have the same ideas, because that's another thing, like I said when we did the introduction of unity. Understand our commonalities. We have common denominators, right? But it doesn't mean that we all have the same concerns and the same solutions. We find out what we can combine. Brother Seiko, you want to say something?
Yeah, and as I said at the very onset, because I grew up since 73, with these principles, I look at it in a very straightforward, blinders on way. So, when I hear that purpose, I think of Nia, and it's, to make our collective vocation. Like all of us are going to do this to make sure that our communities are more beautiful than we inherited them, more beautiful and
Right.
beneficial than we inherited them. I love that nature of the transliteration of Nia. So I just had to pop that out there because I know you're looking at it from a broader scope, Doc,
Yes. Yep. Because I
and
want
I'm
to,
not. I'm
yeah,
not.
I want it to be our people who don't celebrate Kwanzaa to get it though, right? Because you're very
Mm.
hardcore Kwanzaa since 1973. I want to reach our people who are like, man, forget Kwanzaa. And that includes our people who are anti Africa, despite us having African origins, right? We want our people to understand that this is the meaning of it and what does it look like, okay? So we do have to have peripheral vision when it comes to that because we have to understand what's happening around us. So purpose includes things like littering. I see black people litter every day. I'm talking about black people throwing things out of the car. I'm seeing black children eating and they throw things in the lake area. I'm just seeing so many things that people are doing, and you're missing the purpose. Brother Charles, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, because I don't. So this framework, this Kwanzaa framework, it seems like this needs to last all year, not just during Christmas time.
Well, this is a 24/7 thing. I tell people when it comes to
Mhm.
things like this, these seven principles, it's 24/7, 365. It just
Oh, it's not
happens to
just
be
Christmas, Kwanzaa.
no. I mean, it's under
It,
Kwanzaa, like Brother Seiko is addressing, but it's really an everyday thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
Well, this
during
sounds
during
like a
the
friend.
Kwanzaa season, we celebrate the accomplishments in those areas for the previous year, and we plan for the next year. But we're living
Oh,
this all day, every day.
got it,
Right.
got it.
Yeah, it's kind
Okay,
of like your
okay.
birthday. You woke up this morning. Your birthday might be in 2 weeks, and we're going to celebrate the fact that you made it a year, but you still made it through the night. You did that every night for
Right.
364 days to get to your birthday. So on
Got
the
it. Okay, okay.
365th day, we celebrate the fact that for 364 days you got up.
Got it. Got it.
If you
Okay.
feel me. If you
Yeah.
okay, all right.
So
That's
this is a very nice framework. Why aren't black folks, implementing it?
I,
Ooh, that's a whole
I
different
will say
discussion.
I mean, our people. There are people who are. I never downplay our people. There are Black people over centuries who've implemented, not in a Kwanzaa sense, but in a general sense of applying all of
Mm,
these principles. So they just don't call it Kwanzaa, of course. But our people have accomplished a lot. I really don't want our people to downplay the accomplishments of our people in the United States of America.
right.
We
You're
have
right. You're right.
centuries of contributions and accomplishments. And I don't want people to pretend that it was all stolen from us, misrepresented by schools and government. Look here, it is 100% up to us to present our people. It is not the job of schools to teach our history. It's not the job of the government to do statues and all that stuff. It's 100% the job of Black people to present centuries of the accomplishments, and it has to be beyond escaping enslavement, beyond talking about Jim Crow, beyond talking about fighting the police and all this stuff. We have real accomplishments beyond all of that. That has to be the foundation for what we're having our people reading. We have entire economic books, and Seiko and I have done economic development shows about this, and Seiko does other shows with other wonderful scholars of economics.
Hmm.
We have a lot of people doing this work about health, economics, education, all types of things. And unfortunately, a lot of our people have been brainwashed, not just by political parties, but by their families and all types of stuff, that we're only about enslavement. We're only about oppression. We're only about the problems of the government. And especially one political party, without understanding that both political parties, they dance together every day. So it's not just one political party. So it's out there. There's are people who are doing some real work.
Yeah.
A lot of them are doing it out of their own pockets. Even if they have grants, they end up paying out of their own pockets to do it. So I really encourage our people to research what's happening where they're located and contribute to what's happening to where they're located. And contributions can include things like if you pick up litter, because again, we talk about city design that's racist, classist, and ableist, but if we're littering in our own spaces, we cannot be shocked that there's trash all over the place. And there are a
Yeah.
lot of Black people who are tired of having to pick up trash because they think the city should do it. But after a while, you have to understand why non-Blacks are picking up trash in these areas, because they're not waiting for the cities to do everything that they demand. They're like, okay, we're forming these community groups. And Black people have historically done that because we were the first people to put libraries on the corners. We had our own libraries, right? We put books on the corners because we were not allowed to go to libraries and bookstores. So we know how to do that. It's just that unfortunately, when you're listening to Democrats and NAACP and other organizations, you take away from that inner development, which is not only Black nationalism, but that inner development, you take away from that and you think, well, we can no longer do for ourselves. Now we got to wait for the government to do it. And that's the brainwashing that our people have. So that's the last two principles. The creativity. Creativity is art. So I do a lot of work where I talk about art as the core of our culture. So Du Bois, Garvey, Harold Cruz are among the many Black people over the centuries who've done poetry. So I have a lot of Du Bois's poems, Shirley Graham Du Bois, Marcus Garvey's, and UNIA's poetry. Harold Cruz did stage plays. How creativity includes art, it includes sciences, mathematics, all types of things, anything that can illustrate and express the purpose and the goal of our people. And it has to be also creative because you're talking about reaching different audiences of our people. This is one critique that I have of different Black collectives, such as like the Nation of Islam and other religious and groups that call themselves conservative or anything. When you have very old school traditions and old school ideologies, you're trying to get people to be stuck in something 50 years ago, a century ago. Like you gotta understand, like even Amy Jackie Garvey and Amy Ashford Garvey, they updated their model because you can't use the same thing that worked a century ago. You can't use the same language. You're not wearing the same attire. Like you ain't walking around with the attire that our people were told to wear. That was back, the whole British attire a lot of times. So therefore, you understand that you got to present in a different way. Like Nation of Islam, some of the things that worked back then, even with the Bean Prize, they don't work right now in a lot of spaces, right? You got to ask yourself, are you keeping that same tactic because it's working and you're holding on to your leaders who they don't know what they're doing a lot of times either? Or do you want to make some changes because we got to make some changes for future generations? Because we want to exist centuries from now. And
Yeah.
you're not going to exist if people know that you're still doing something from a long time ago that has been proven that it ain't working. It has not stopped health issues. It has not stopped the spread of sexually transmitted infections. It has not stopped issues of sexual assault and rape done by religious leaders in your group as well. If you're not making changes, you just feel like people got to respect your format because that's how we do it. Then the
No.
question is, when it comes to purpose and creativity, you're lazy and you're self-focused in a way that's ignoring the collective. And last but not least, is the seventh principle, which is faith. Okay,
Hey,
so faith does not require religion, but people who are religious, they can understand the goal of their religion is a higher power or powers, but it's also supposed to be cultural representative, the understanding of collectives. So when Marcus Garvey was thinking of implementing the African Orthodox Church, he never did it, but when he thought of it, was this idea of uniting Africans. And that was because, of course, back then and now, a large population of our people are Christian. It could be any version of Christian that has been changed to add the cultures where people are located. Same thing with Islam. So if you're talking about any kind of faith, this hope, faith can include spiritualities. There are agnostics, atheists, and overall non believers who talk about faith. They just don't talk about it in the same way. So you can have a faith in our people in terms of achieving something, even when it doesn't seem immediate and it's a constant process. You still have faith, you still have hope, right? And you can also see the faith in terms of something beyond human understanding because there's going to be a lot of disappointment. And so there are people who take like a spiritual realm of saying, we're going to keep working and you're going to know that humans are going to keep being humans. So humans are annoying. So how do we hold on to this trust and this hope that something will happen? Do y'all have any thoughts on that?
Charles?
no, I mean, you've included everything. I mean, you even included the atheist and the mentioning of agnostic. I mean, just having some sense of faith and 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 embodying that faith and those other remaining six principles that you mentioned. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to act like I know. I mean, that's just my understanding. It's again, it's just a blank vanilla. Hey, you got to have faith, and yeah, you need to be embodying that in all of those principles. I would wrap it up. I would say that that's a good. That last principle kind of wraps up everything because you're doing all of those things with the faith that you're going to be making the impact.
Successful. Yep.
So
Yep.
you're looking at so you're looking at unity, you're looking at self determination, you're looking at economic empowerment, you're looking at faith, you're looking at I'm missing the other two, other three. Uh,
We're not going to mess with you on messing up the Kwanzaa
All right.
days. We're
So
not going to mess with you.
it's all good, brother. It's all good. We'll leave that alone. We went through them all. Uh, all I have to say is, I popped on the screen a couple of times, live those principles.
living the principle.
It's Yeah, it's important. There's a lawyer, one of your Soros, um, Loree Daniels' favorite, and she celebrates Kwanzaa every day of the week, every day of the
Mm,
month, rather. So Monday is Umoja, Tuesday is Kuja Chagalia. And that is really kind of interesting how that's done. But the point is that we celebrate, we imbue these principles in our lives and in our actions daily. And it's a wonderful thing when it's done. It's really a wonderful thing. So, when that day comes, when I'm heading to glory, somebody's going to say something good. I would have impacted somebody's life because those principles illuminated in my life, in my actions, in my activities, in my legacy.
Mm.
And may the same happen with all of us. May the same happen with us all. Peace. Oh, I guess I'll stop it now.